Bradshaw. Dr. Bradshaw is in his second year here at SFA, and he's a real asset to our department. He holds undergraduate and graduate degrees from Idaho State and a PhD from the University of Arizona. And I know that he has put together a stellar panel today, and he will take over from here. Dr. Bradshaw?
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Harris. And thank you to all of our panelists. We're grateful that you took time to travel up to Houston today. We're interested in what you have to say. You have a ton of knowledge. So thank you. I'm going to offer some brief introductions, and then we'll work through some questions. And at the end, we'll open it up to the audience for questions as well. At the end of the table here, we have Alex Anderson. He earned his bachelor's degree in advertising PR from Sam Houston State University. He is what we call a do-gooder. He does a lot of work in the community. He's worked as a personal trainer, and he's helped people in every position he's been in. He's worked as a brand coordinator for the Black Sheep Agency, as a creative strategist for the White House's #BetterMakeRoom campaign, and currently works as a senior creative strategist for the New Group. Thank you, Alex. Next, we have Trace Garner. He also graduated from Sam Houston State. With a bachelor's in fine arts with an emphasis in graphic design. As a graphic designer, he's worked at TCBO, implementing email marketing strategies, and as a web designer, and he is currently working as the New Group's art director, where he helps lead the visual charge, articulating personal stories into marketable brands. So thank you, Trace. Next is Maddie Gibbons. She earned her bachelor's degree from Baylor University in marketing with an emphasis in sports promotion. She's worked in several roles in the ad industry, including serving as the marketing coordinator for the Houston Texans, and has worked with other clients such as Shell, Baylor Houston Partnership, Halliburton, and Ticketmaster. She served as the account manager at MMI Agency and is currently their human resources manager, which means that she sees a lot of resumes and portfolios. So she has a ton of information that is important to people like you who want jobs. So thank you, Matt. Next we have Chuck Carlberg. He earned his bachelor's degree from the University of Houston, emphasizing advertising, psychology, and creative writing. I always pitch the psychology to our ad students. He has more than 50 years of experience working in the ad industry, primarily serving as a creative director, president, and principal. In 2006, the Richards Group in Dallas acquired Reeves Carlberg, and Richards Carlberg now is the largest independently held ad agency in the U.S. with more than $1.3 billion in annual billings. So although his agency has won every award there is, he's mostly concerned with producing results for clients. Every day he gets to work with his wife and soulmate, business partner Gail Carlberg, and they have children that work in the ad industry as art directors. Next we have Michelle McLeod, who graduated from the University of Texas, Austin with a degree in advertising. She's worked at numerous agencies, including GS&M in Austin on the AT&T account, which is an award-winning account, described as the largest telecom advertising initiative in history by Forbes magazine. She spent time at Lopez Negretti, the nation's largest Hispanic-oriented ad agency, and for the past 5 years she served as the senior level brand manager at Richards Carlson, where she's played a pivotal role in a host of campaigns across our Lumberjacks Make Great campaign, Lone Star College System, University of Texas Health Science Center in the Houston Zoo. Thank you. So we have a lot of experience, knowledge, great information up here ready to be shared to you. But I want to start off with something simple and straightforward, and we'll just work through everybody. I may cut people off just to make sure we get enough time to hear from everyone and we move to the next question. What we want to do first is I want to hear what you do, your day-to-day activities. What's the first thing you do when you get to work? What's the last thing you do? And you could even tell us what time you get there, how late you stay. So we can go ahead and start at the end. If you just turn the mic,
Yes, sir.
to make sure we get enough sound.
Cool. Can you guys hear me? Because I can't hear if you can hear me. Okay.
Just a little.
Just a.
You know, we're all over deaf.
I'm good. Is this better?
Yes.
Well, perfect. Welcome to this esteemed panel that includes me. So, what I do every morning and every night and everything in between, it looks different. I work for a creative agency with a bunch of different clients that sometimes have super crushing deadlines that make us cringe, and other times we don't have like anything pressing. So my morning could be me just coming in to check off the thousands of emails I feel like I have every day, or it might be me crushing tracing ping pong. It varies. It varies. Sometimes, like in the mornings, in the beginning of the week, we have production meetings to get everybody on the same page and make sure that all our clients are accounted for and they need, or they have everything that they need. And then other times we have time to think and brainstorm and come up with what makes us great at what we do. And that might just be browsing Fast Company or the latest design publications. And that might be us talking about the books that we're reading. It always looks different. It's never the same. It's never predictable, which is why I like my job and why we like going to work. I get there probably 9 o'clock. About 9. It's about 9, yeah. And we end work at 6, but if, like I said, we work for an agency with clients who have unpredictable schedules, and depending on how much money they pay us, we could be there super late at night, just all depending on the deadline. But typically it's 9 to 6. Yeah.
Thank you.
What's up? So I get to work at the same place. We work at New. So similarly, the day-to-day, or at least the times is similar. I mean, yesterday I worked from 7:30 in the morning till like 8:15 at night. And at the same time, sometimes I've like gone and gotten breakfast with my wife and showed up at like 10:30 and left at like 4. So it just depends on really what's kind of going on with projects and what the clients are asking for and what I really want to get done. But as far as the day-to-day, I mean, I think that, and this might lead into maybe a different topic or a different kind of area, but I should always try to like really honor where I work and who I work with. And then also like better myself in some way. So that's how I kind of try to start my day and end my day. So usually the first few things I'm doing are like reading in the morning. When I get to the office, I'm like saying hello to everybody and asking everyone how their day, like how you doing. I think that that's super important in a workspace, is to like be a part of the community. I mean, if you want to be a part of the community, you can't do it alone. So you should probably be really nice to everyone around you. And I have to see my coworkers every day. So I think that kind of goes a long way with honoring the workplace. And then myself, I try to spend about 15 minutes. I'm a graphic designer, so I know how to do web design and Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, all that stuff. But I don't know how to do motion design, so like right now I'm spending about 15 minutes a day trying to learn that. So there's like better trying to educate myself. And then there's probably another 15 minutes of reading Reddit or something. And then at the end of the day, it just depends. If I have time, I'll like try to end on a good note. Usually I'm just like trying to finish up something as fast as possible to get home.
Hi, so I'm Maddie Gibbons. I work at my agency, and I'm an HR manager, so my day looks a little bit different than probably everybody else's up here. But I get to work at about 6:45 every morning. And I do leave a little bit earlier because I have daycare pickup, so that's why. So I usually leave around 4:30 or so. But my day starts by reading the news. So I will kind of skim through several articles. I also get a newsletter called The Skim that goes to my inbox every day. It's free to sign up. I suggest that you all do it. And it's a good way to just like stay up on current events. And then I also will go through like Ad Week or Ad Age and just kind of look through a couple of interesting stories and stay up on what's going on in our industry. Then I will check emails that I haven't responded to before I left the house already. So I'll go through that, and then a lot of my day is really spent on like, I'll work on training programs for people in our agency, or I will go through resumes and have phone interviews with people, so that is usually a little bit different every day. I usually look through like 50 or so resumes every day, which is quite a lot, so you know, when like, we might talk about that at some other point, but I usually spend like 3 seconds per resume unless they really catch my attention. So put all your important stuff at the top of the resume. Yeah, there's your first nugget. And then I also manage a few accounts, so I might have like a call with a client or an internal meeting or anything like that. So, and then before I leave for the day, then I will try to get to inbox 0 if I can, which usually does not happen. And then I'll write down like my top 3 things that I need to get done the next day. So that's kind of how I wrap up at the end. So that's
I'm Chuck Carlberg, and I was raised as an art director, and you heard my 3 children are also art directors, which is cool. But it's funny, if you'd asked me 20 years ago what was my day like, you know, I'd get in at the crack of 10 and go home about 9, 10 o'clock at night. The one thing I'll stress to you guys today is that it's time, because we were talking to lunch, and I think the most valuable thing we have today is time, and what you do with it. And you don't waste it much these days, and neither do your clients. And so, I mean, literally, I hate this, but I wake up like at 5:30, 5:40, and I feed the dogs, and then I make coffee for my wife. But no, I sit down and organize my day. I have somebody knows I have the old Franklin planner system. It's just a daily analog device. But I really do try to organize my day of what I have to do that day, deadlines, all the meetings that I want to have that day. And realize I'm a creative guy, and yet I spend most of my morning getting organized so that at least 30% of my day kind of achieve what I put down. Because in this business, it's real. Everyone will say this is a fun business. It really is. You never tell a client that because nobody pays you to have fun. You never say, "Oh, we had fun working on your logo." No, never say that. But no, and then your day is meetings, and you really try to control those meetings so you don't spend too much time. So you're really trying to organize in a creative way, because we're all creative people in this business. It doesn't matter what discipline you're in, you're still a great person. But you really, I think time is the biggest thing that has happened to all of us. And it's not just the ad industry or the arts industry, it's oil and gas, anything, because we're living in this crazy digital age. And I leave work about 7, because that's finally when the emails stop coming in. Client emails stop about 7, so I'm there until 7. And we have to start our agency. We're part of the Richards Group, and their one thing is you have to be in by 8:29:59. If you get in by 8:30, you're late. But and a lot of people can't handle that. I have no problem with that. I think it's great, because then we all start working at the same time, as opposed to the jerk that comes in at 10 o'clock, you know, and everybody else is there at 8 waiting for you. So we all start at the same time, which is great. But it's a great business, it's a great fun business. So that's what I do.
I think we've actually just gone through some hiring, and the common question that people ask is, what's a typical day? And I think everybody has sort of stated that there isn't a typical day in this industry. The only thing that is consistent is that nothing is consistent. So, you know, I think this is somewhat tangential, but I think prioritization is critical in this industry, because when you do come in every morning, even if you are excellent like Maddie and you make your list, you know, the evening before and you come in, it inevitably gets derailed by some fire, drill, or crisis. And we're here to support our clients, you know, so at the end of the day, we're going to take all that, we're going to put it off, and we're going to answer whatever that immediate need is. So typically my morning starts by figuring out what is the hottest thing today. And it may or may not be what I thought it was going to be literally 6 hours ago. It changes that frequently. So, you know, on any given day, I'm coming in the morning and trying to figure out, you know, what were the things that I had hoped to accomplish today versus the things that now must happen today, and trying to strike a balance between those. In terms of at the end of the day, I probably could have better practices, but I think it's sort of what I think Alex or Trace had described as kind of like just shoving as much as I possibly can out the door before it's time to go, because there's just never enough hours in the day, unfortunately. So it's just trying to get as much as you possibly can done before you have to leave. We work at the same place, so yeah, we operate 8:30 to 5:30 every day. Some of us have flex time, so I typically get in at like 7:45 and leave around 4:45. But the work doesn't stop at 4:45 or 5:30 or 7:30 or 9:30. So, you know, it's a deadline-driven industry. There are a lot of evenings where, you know, I have kids, so I'll leave and I'll do daycare pickup and I'll cook dinner, and then, you know, 9 p.m. I'm back on the computer trying to, you know, address some issues that are either really timely or that it would be really beneficial for my following day to go ahead and knock those out. So, you know, somebody that is proactive and responsible and able to prioritize their day is definitely an asset to anybody, you know, working in this field.
Perfect, thank you. We're actually really lucky because there's such a diverse set of positions that we have, and not only positions but experience, the types of organizations and agencies that you work in now and have worked in. So I'd like to kind of build on that diversity and ask, in your specific areas, what are the biggest changes that are occurring right now or that you see on the horizon that are kind of reshaping what you do? Go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah.
Here's this.
Thank you. Things that are changing. So New Group started out a design firm. Just a design. It was almost lacking some strategy. It was lacking like creative production. And as the agency evolved, we pulled in and expanded services, expanded our team, and now we're 30 strong, and we are full service. But at a point, it was just design. And if you look at, there's been all these agencies who are starting to get acquired by larger agencies. Larger agencies are coming in and acquiring them, or they're shutting their doors. Team and Lax closed, and it was a huge deal. And it's because we're making the shift from traditional advertising into this digital age, and we're all a part of it, and it's not anything new, but digital has different meanings. It's changing. It's no longer like bottom low-hanging fruit. Now it's tech solutions and experiences that are personal and make the consumer feel like they're a part of something bigger. And because of that, I was reading the CMO Council strategy brief. Only 5% of agencies are satisfied with, or excuse me, 5% of companies are satisfied with their agency's performance or feel like they're doing an incredible job. And 72% are looking at other options to expand digital capabilities. They want to do something that's never been done before, something that's big and personal and connect with the consumer in that way. And like, for example, Procter & Gamble, a couple of years ago, kind of like took a step back and reassessed everything they were doing. And they dropped like $300 million worth of payments to agencies, and just decided to reassess for a partner who could be more digital focused and data focused, because that's what we're moving into. And that looks like immersive tech experiences. That looks like developing web apps and apps. That looks like websites that do things that we've never seen before. The gamut is limitless, but the point is things are changing, and if you don't adapt, you die. Which is hard. It's a big point. If it's something you've never done before, then your agency is going to struggle. And then on the plus side, these small digital agencies, that's all they do, are being acquired. They're probably making a profit and going home happy. We kind of realized this a while back, and so expanded, and now we have a team of designers and developers and software engineers and the whole thing to be able to fix that particular solution for a creative agency who can create not just the good-looking pieces that feel good to the consumer, but the whole immersive experience that allows them to connect with the product or the service, what have you. But so that was something that we've been exploring for sure.
So absolutely to all of those things. Yeah, so right. So as just like you mentioned P&G, we are one of the agencies that ended up being able to benefit from that kind of thing where we got a lot of P&G business because we were able to be very strategically focused and very like quick on our feet. So there were a couple of things that we've gotten from P&G where Procter & Gamble's had projects where they needed somebody who could get ads up and running in 45 minutes to an hour, and there are other agencies of record couldn't do that, but we could because we're a smaller team and we're able to have a lot of like strategic thinkers who are able to act extremely quickly. So they're on the digital side. We don't do as much as like web development or app development, but it's very much where it wasn't 5 years ago. It is very search focused now. So like 5 years ago, I probably would have told clients like, let's put a digital ad up and like let's put some display ads, and we would have said this is wonderful and cutting edge. And now I probably wouldn't recommend any of those things at first glance, but I would say, hey, people are searching for what you're selling, so let's try to match up. You know, this person has a need, you have the service, so we're trying to match those a lot more. And there's a lot more direct ways that you can do it now, where like people are going into Google and they're finding their information, or you're looking at Instagram and somebody's got a face cream and they say this face cream makes me look like an angel, and so all of a sudden you want to buy that face cream. So we're using influencers to do that, where we weren't focusing on that as much 5 years ago. And those things are going to be changing in the future. Facebook is changing the way that we're doing social advertising, because they're changing their algorithm all the time, and we have to play by those rules. So we're always adapting, and it is adapt or die. So there are a lot of just interesting things that will be coming, and it will change. 3 months from now, what we're saying right now might not be like the best tactics to go by. It really is that fast. So it is. There's always something cutting edge and new. So that's why you should read the news.
And Maddie, could you talk just for a minute about new positions, like a title, what that job title is, which ones are coming up and which ones are going away, at least for your age?
Sure. So I think there are certain things that are going to be consistent. Like any of your design positions, there is going to always be something that's needed to be designed visually. So, Pinterest is doing a lot with visual marketing right now, where you can look at a photo and say, I want to buy those red shoes, and Google will pull up those red shoes. So there's going to be a lot more digital focus. So if you were looking at design, awesome. If you were looking at being in print production, probably not super great. There is going to be print stuff that happens, but when I started at MMI, we had a print department. We do not have that department any longer. What we didn't have when I started MMI was an influencer department. We now have 5 people who are working on influencer marketing completely. And that may be different 3 years from now. If you're looking at anything like digital analytics, we are hiring analytics people like crazy because we've got a lot of data and we need to know how to interpret that, and those people really understand that. So those kind of position titles are very up and coming, and if you end up spotting something that's on the rise, you can make a lot of money by being the one person that knows how to do that specialization, because agencies will pay you out the nose because you know something that they may not know, and that's going to be what clients are looking for. So, yeah.
Perfect, yeah.
Who has seen the television show Mad Men? Who's seen that? Okay, I will say it's all true, and then I'll stop at that. But I started my career back when the Mad Men were it was just there in that era. I got to meet David Ogilvy, I got to meet Bill Bernbach. I mean, these are legends in our industry. And it was a phenomenal time. And you had television, you had radio, you had outdoor, and you had newspaper. That was the media of that time. And the biggest thing in your career at that time was to be able to do a full-page newspaper ad. You go, I got to do a full-page newspaper ad. And now they say, what's a newspaper? So what's a newspaper? And what's interesting, people, the question is, well, what's the biggest change that you've seen in the industry? And what we in the creative part of the business do, what we do is the same thing we've done since this business began, and that is come up with big ideas, come up with big campaigns, the big idea, as it were. You saw some on the Super Bowl or not. I said, what we do hasn't changed, the media has changed. So I said, we've gone from paper to pixels now. So that's where we are. And now instead of saying, move it a 16th of an inch, I'm an art director by trade, I go, now move it pixel. No, one more pixel, move it, there you go. And that's how we do it. But it's still the same business. It's just, like I say, the media has changed. And then also time, we were talking about this over lunch, because You know, we used to have 60-second TV commercials. That's a lifetime. And then for the Gen Zs, 6 seconds is a lifetime. Okay, so we have to get the younger people much quicker, much faster. So that's what's changed. So I talk about time, and now it's how can you condense time to where I can get you with a second or two. Because it's very interesting, Coca-Cola worked on 2-second commercials. And all it was the bottle cap going, and then, and that was it. And that was Coca-Cola. So realize it can be done, and how clever can you be? Think about that in your futures of doing great creative ideas in 2 to 3 seconds. Because probably that's what you should be doing anyway. So, and the great thing about this is it is constantly changing. So, you know, keep up, keep with it, everything they've said, keep doing it. And it really is, I think it's the most fun thing. I love something. What's your hobby? Work. I love to work. It is so much fun. You know, that somebody will pay you some money to do this much fun. Don't tell the clients back there. But yeah, it's a great business to be in. So I'll let Michelle go from here.
Two things come to mind, and they're sort of both related to the digital conversation. But one is just sort of data overload. I think that a lot of agencies are struggling or grappling with how to handle the large amount of data that's available, and it takes a lot of time to do that data analysis, and so figuring out ways to still be accountable, for the information, because at the end of the day, the client is looking for that return on investment, and they're wanting, you can pretty much measure everything at this point, so there is a mountain of data. But you can also sort of get lost in it, and at some point you're questioning, is it really even worth all the time that it's taking to analyze this information? So I know that that's something that as an organization we talk about quite a lot. And then another thing is the continuous churn of production. Now in a digital space, people are exposed to much more content than they were, and their expectation is that that content is refreshed continuously. So the days of going out and doing one big shoot a year and producing 7 commercials, that doesn't happen anymore. It's, how many video vignettes can we produce? How many GIFs can we have this year? And how does an agency do all of that and not charge the client too much money and survive? And so it's forced agencies to think differently about creative assets and think differently about production. There was a day where, clients would go and they would spend $500,000, $1 million on one commercial. That doesn't really happen anymore. People don't, it doesn't have the shelf life to warrant that expenditure. So, I don't have any grand answer, but I think that it's just something that a lot of agencies are contending with right now, is how to keep all that content out there fresh and at the quality that people also expect. You still want to have the same level of quality, but at a lower price and at a greater frequency.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, here's a question that I'm sure everyone wants answers to. How do graduates get internships and jobs? And for some of you, if you don't work in this exact position, maybe you could talk about it from your perspective, which is how you deal on the other side with turnover, trying to attract the best people. What do you do, from a management position, or as you maybe already have a job?
I think this is what I'm here for. So I feel like you probably hear this all the time, but getting experience is the best way to get your foot in the door, whether that is an internship or if you're just going to volunteer someplace. Whatever you can put on your resume to stand out is going to be really helpful. And so, and put like your most relevant experience at the top of your resume. Like, I don't want to hear that you worked at the Gap, but I would love to hear, like, if you spent a 1 week shadowing somebody in an agency, that is more valuable to me than your experience at Gap. Also, certifications are a big deal. I will look at people's certifications, and that automatically puts them up several notches whenever I'm comparing resumes. So get Google Analytics certified, work through like Facebook certifications. Pretty much any social platform will have some sort of like certification program that you can take. They might cost a little bit of money. Most of them are free. So, but that is a huge benefit to you. If you're a designer, make sure that you like list those skills of all the softwares that you're able to maneuver around. And in like anything that you think, oh, maybe this isn't relevant, it probably is. look through job descriptions and search for the skills that they're looking for, and then change up your resume to have those skills in it. Don't lie, obviously. If you don't know Photoshop and they're asking you to know Photoshop, don't say that because we will find out. But if they, like, we call our account managers, like brand managers, we call it account managers. Richard Scarborough might call them brand managers. Change that up in your resume to say that you were a brand manager or an account manager based on the position that you're applying for. Because right now, like even HR is getting digital, and that I have a software that will pull in all the resumes, and I can search for keyword terms, and that will pull up the resumes that I'm looking for. So, and I know what keyword terms I'm looking for because I put them in the job description. So the map is there for you to like stand out. If you don't have the keywords that I'm looking for, I probably am not looking at your resume because we're getting so many a day. But experience, certifications, and then make sure you know what you're applying for is probably the easiest way to like map that out. So, yep.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, and we all get a lot of resumes, and there's not one resume that is bad. Everyone's like 3.8, 3.9, maybe 4.0, you know, not many of us check, you may check, you know, but the key, I mean, I have to say, if you can get an internship anywhere, get one. So you say, well, how do I get one? Sometimes you may have a parent that knows somebody, or a friend that can call and say, listen, do you talk to my daughter? Do you talk to my son? That's good. Try to be as creative as you can on your resume, because they all look alike. And I hate to say that, they really all look alike, and you could be the most wonderful person. We look at a lot of different activities that you've done, that's true. But the key is to get yourself in front of somebody, even if you have to be annoying and wait in the lobby and wait, because it's critical on your resume to show that you have interned somewhere. And we pay, by the way, we do pay interns. Stanford, our owner, makes us pay, so that's good. That's good for you guys. I used to not pay because I thought it was so important that you could intern with somebody that, you know, you should be paying us. He said no. No, it's real critical to get the job and keep trying, never take no for an answer, and send something creative if you can. You know, I mean, if there's something you can create, you send to somebody and you make sure you're talking to the right person who can do the hiring. And then also know what you want to do, because the worst thing we have a college person come in and say, I want to be in the advertising business. You go, okay, what do you want to do? I want to, you know, my favorite one is, well, I like to work with people. I go, these aren't people, they're clients. There's a big difference. So, but I mean, you know, I want to be in advertising. You want to be in media? You want to be in brand management? Yeah. No, you got to pick one out. And then the last thing I'll say is, have you been to that agency or that design firm's website? Please go to their website, know all their clients, and say, I would love to work on P&G. I would love to work on Mahindra tractors. I would love to do this. So that you know something about it, and that's all given to you guys. I mean, this digital age is amazing for y'all, because you can find out everything. I see you went to the University of Houston. I see you did this, what he read. And that's just kind of cool. You go, all right, good for you. You just did basic stuff, but it's kind of impressive for these guys that you're talking to. So, and I wish everyone luck, because it will happen to all of you. You just have to work at it.
So, okay. Yeah, I think practically, like, I feel like there's no excuse to not have experience. I mean, you literally have like Coca-Cola's Instagram account right there. You can DM whoever the heck you want. So I'm a big fan of that. There's like, you have endless access. There's no excuse to not have experience really, but practically you should really like, they're saying that you need to make sure you're emailing the right person. So make sure you're emailing someone that can actually help you, or they're supposed to give part of their day to trying to help you in some way. Second, like, write a good email. Right, you know?
Gosh, so many trash emails.
So many. Like, if I open your email and it's like size 10 and it stretches the whole length of my screen, and it kills me. There's no reason for that. So write a good email, throw a GIF in there, like make me laugh. I love The Office. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, be a person trying to talk to a person, because you're gonna have to work next to them. And if you're boring, if your email's boring, then I assume you're boring, and I don't want you to be here.
We don't like boring people.
So I think that's like a huge deal. Also, if you're in the opportunity of working for free, which I bet, like, if you're thinking, oh, I can't work for free, you actually probably can. But I just think more people can work free than they really think. Then do that. Then, like, DM people on Instagram, email agencies, ask if you can stop by. I mean, I had someone from U of H to say like, hey, I was at this studio tour. I now have no class on Thursdays. Can I come by and just like see what you do on Thursday? And I guarantee you, he did. We let him. He hung out. He like hung out and asked questions. And I guarantee you, he put on his resume like partnered with New Group at Houston. And I don't care. That's true. He came. You know what I'm saying? Like he did. I don't care. But that's what I'm saying. Like at least something that's like getting him in the door. So just like.
Oh gosh, that's yeah, that's my advice as well. Just be better. Honestly, I get so many emails that are cookie cutter. Like I know you cut and paste that email to everybody you could find. Come on, do better. If you don't know my name, know my name. Like know my name. Be better. If you want to be a writer, read everything you can. Read everything you can. Find out who's a good writer and be better than them. If you want to be a designer, don't put any design project you have ever done on your portfolio. Put the best on your portfolio. And if it's not there, make it. Do free work. We like just, did you guys go to Paula Scher in Houston? Paula Scher, just like a couple days ago. Paula Scher, one of the most talented designers in the entire world. A partner at Pentagram came to Houston and was talking, and there's so much stigma about free work and whether you should take a free internship or whatever. And honestly, if it benefits you in the end, take that. Like, free work is only something bad if you feel taken advantage of. And I thought it was a great point by her. So I've done free work for nonprofits, for churches, for good friends, for whoever. And all of that contributes, one, to my experience and makes me better at what I do. Two, I can throw my portfolio and show it off to get a paid gig. Just be better.
One of my friends, he's a designer, and he did that. He like every single final score of like the Houston, I remember the Rockets. He like made a graphic and posted on Instagram and tagged them, and it got him a job with the Dynamo. Just because they saw like he was posting stuff on Instagram.
That's pretty dope. Yeah, and so I'm not saying like do better to discourage you. I'm saying do better because we need more people in this industry who are competitive and find the value in busting their ass to like get an entryway in, because when you have a client who's paying you $1 million a year to come up with ideas that change the world, and that's what advertising does, is it changes the world, it changes how we perceive things, it changes how we interact with each other, then we need those people to be doing those kinds of things now, before you get the gig. How I got my internship that got me a job at Black Sheep, I started off as an intern and then I was hired. First of all, their internship application is like super long. It's really depressing. But the last thing that I had to do was write an essay about like a time I was creative. And that's like pretty standard. I wanted to be a writer, and so I needed like a good anecdote or whatever. And a lot of students write about their college experience or maybe a past job. I wrote about like a date I took a girl on that was super awesome. And they loved it, and so I came in for an interview, and the first thing that they said to me as I came through the door, hadn't even shaken hands yet, was like, "Are you still dating the girl?" But like, it was because I didn't do what was expected of me. I took a risk, I was personal, and that personal story established a relationship with the people who make decisions. Okay, you're not there to just contribute skills, you're there to contribute a relationship. Like the people who, like I work for a boss and he is a good friend of mine. I'm not just there to check a list and contribute, make money. Yes, that at the end of the day is the bottom line. But more than that, like we're there to change the world, and all of us in our office believe that. And so if you don't believe that you can change the world, then we're not gonna hire you. Sorry.
Sure. I agree with everyone on the internship experience. I know sometimes it can seem, hard to get an internship, or maybe you feel like you have maybe you're working, you're working full time to support yourself through college, and so you don't have the time to do an internship. So I certainly understand that maybe some people are in those positions. I would say if you don't have any experience that's directly related, do your best to talk about your experience in a way that is transferable, because I guarantee you, that job working in the rec center where you're answering phones all day, that is a directly transferable skill. You just need to think about it a little bit differently. Also, I think if you don't have directly related experience, come to the table with a passion for the industry. You know, put a section on your resume about brands that you admire and why. Just because you didn't have an agency internship doesn't mean that you don't know about advertising agencies or branding. You know, I've never seen anybody do that before, but definitely whenever I'm interviewing someone, I ask them, you know, what advertising campaign out there have you seen that you really love, and tell me why. And it's kind of a bummer when somebody can't answer that question. You definitely need to be able to answer that question. You know, every agency is different, but I know at our agency, we really focus on hiring people that are going to be there for the long haul. And so we're really focused on finding people that have a passion for this business and then just love branding and love advertising. So, you know, don't be afraid to have an opinion and talk about what you like in an interview. I think that it shows that you belong in an agency. And it's a special kind of person that belongs in an agency. So that's what I have to
No. I mean, let me just say one more thing, because it's so funny when, two things actually. I had a woman come up to me, and this is, her son went to high school with my son, and she said, "Oh, Chuck, help me. My son is so ADD. What can I do with him?" I said, "Put him in advertising." That's what we all are. We're all kind of ADD, and that's what's great about our business, because you're like this. Don't ask me to add a group of figures. I'll never get through them. But this is how you are, because you're thinking about all these things. You're hearing these guys. They're all kind of talking the same way. The other thing I'll say is when somebody says, "What do you look for in a person?" I look for the catch light in their eye that says, "I'm awake, I'm aware, I'm bright, I'm smart." And that's why if you get an interview with anybody, be as smart and in touch as you can. And as I told my kids when they went to camp, you know, be first in line, speak up, look the counselor in the eye, and volunteer for everything. And both my kids were the best camper in their camp, because they did those 4 things. Do I have to be in front of the line? Yes, that's what the A students are. You're the A students right here. Anyway, the last thing I'll say is Stan Richards, who's our owner. Yeah, you gotta go on the A student. But Stan Richards, who's our owner of our company, he is one of the advertising legends that I'm blessed to work with. He says, "I always look on a resume to see if you were like the captain of the team, the head of this, the president of this, the vice president of this, that you were involved in something where you were a leader." Because I think you're seeing, you got 5 leaders up here today, and you're really looking for people who can lead, because even if you're just leading yourself, you're leading. So always put those things in your resume and try to earn those things along your college career and afterwards.
And I was going to add, your experience doesn't have to be with an agency. Like, obviously, when I look at it, look at resumes, it's awesome if you do have agency experience. If you've worked in a marketing department, that's also great. Like, for a company, even if it's your mom's company or your sister's best friend, like, that is great as well. And then on the time thing, because I know that is important as y'all are in class and might have other jobs, there are a ton of like bloggers and influencers who are running on their own time schedule. You could reach out to them and say, "Hey, I would love to volunteer to like help you out with content creation or something like that," and they would probably totally take the free help. And there are thousands of them. We work with influencers all the time, and that is a good way to get in the industry. I do look at people's resumes when they said like I've worked with this blogger influencer. That's a standout to us, because I know we're doing things like that all the time. And you can do that at 1 in the morning where you're helping them out. It really can be like on your own schedule because it's digital. And that's a really good way to kind of get a good picture of like what a full service agency might be like, because those people are running their own businesses where they are trying to still like reach consumers and create content. And that'd be a good way to just like see what a business is like on the marketing side. So, ideas.
Those are such great answers. Thank you so much for that. I hope you take advantage of that information. Just absorb it. The next question is kind of foundational and a little bit maybe big picture. And what I want to know is how you define advertising. We might have textbook definitions and ways we think about it, but you are the best at what you do. So I want to know how you think about it.
Mine's quick, so I'm going first.
I don't know the actual definition, so that helps kind of just make up how I would define it. But I mean, I think Chuck said it earlier. I think you're just like, it's attention based. Like this whole, it's all time and attention. That's the whole game. You're trying to capture someone's attention in some form of medium that is most relevant, and that's really what's monetized. That's what's sought after. And the video, we realized people weren't watching 60-second advertisements, that also they weren't watching 10, they weren't watching 6, they're watching 2. So it's all about a battle of attention in advertising, and so whatever avenue you decide to dive in, just be ready to try to be the best at it. Yeah, so that's it.
Mine's also pretty quick, and I think I may have said this earlier, but to me, advertising is matching consumers with a solution. So like finding a solution to their problem and then letting them know about it. So really for us is like meeting consumers wherever they are. And that really can take so many different forms, which is why all of our days look so different and weeks look different, because there are so many different avenues and routes to do that.
Yeah, when I saw this question, I'm going, well, Webster says advertising is. But I think what's interesting about this business is that, and in our company, I maintain that every department in our company is creative. Because creative tends to be the one thing that clients can't do, is be creative. Because they're doing other things in their companies and organizations. So we're all creative. The great thing that's happened to our business, as we're talking about, is the world of media has changed dramatically. And whenever there's a media rep coming through or anybody coming through from Instagram or Facebook to come into our shop, I want to be in that meeting because they're telling you new things to do, new ideas that are happening. So you're always learning things from the media now. And yes, when somebody from Pentagram comes to town, be sure you're in that room as well. But the one thing I'll say about our business, and because again, I was a young punk art director at one time, and all I want to do is cool ass. So that kind of, yeah, and you didn't care about the client. The client tends to bore. They want to only use black and white. So, no, I mean, and now everything's a challenge to me. I mean, if they want to use black and white, how great, we can just do black and white. So, the one thing I'll say about this for me now, it's all about, and he said in my little write-up was, we're all about results. What do clients want? Clients want sales. Okay, advertising can bring them sales. Realize advertising is a tactic to strategy. So realize we're a cog in a big wheel here, but we're the cool cog, obviously. But think about that we're here to get results for higher ed. We have about 6 or 7 higher ed. We're about getting enrollment. Okay, we do SFA's work, and I hope that you guys appreciate it when you're here because of that. But no, it's really, we're challenging because we're trying to get enrollment. And then we have other clients that we're trying to get sales, or we have other clients that are trying to gain perception. So advertising is all this, but you have all the tools to make that happen. And the last thing I'll say was very interesting because our business is about relationships. Because you have a relationship with your clients that is like no other, and you're there to help. Okay, you're there to help this client achieve whatever problem or issue or thing they're trying to overcome, or just increase sales or awareness, whatever. But understand that, and the cool thing, and this is, again, like the old adage is every client you have now you're going to lose. Which is like, oh, bullshit. No, it is, you're going to lose every client. But you try to extend that out as long as you can, and you do that by having a relationship, because they say it's easy to fire an entity, it's harder to fire a person. So have that relationship with your clients. And that means you can have it at your age as well, and you do know something about them. How are your kids? I hear they're going to camp. How are your kids? I hear they're going to this. So try to have relationships with your clients, because it also is about the relationship business. So that's really important about the ad business, to have a relationship with your clients.
I think advertising really boils down to likability. We don't really have to. Some people might debate this point, but I think there's so much information out there these days that you don't so much have to rely on an ad campaign to convey a price point or a specific offer. Those ads do have their time and place, but at the end of the day, if you're really interested in something, you can access that information just by going to a company's website or their social media. So I think it's really just about connecting with the consumer and portraying the brand in a way that's likable to that person. It really has turned to a brand love type conversation, and our challenge is just figuring out how to connect with that consumer. Every consumer is different, and so our job is sort of trying to identify what the client offering is and how we can portray that in a way that's going to relate directly to that consumer. I think that can be a challenge at times, particularly when we have 2 seconds or 6 seconds. But I think at the end of the day, it's really just about creating that connection between whatever the client offering and the customer at the end of the day.
you want anything else?
I'll say 2 sentences.
I'll continue to
Oh gosh. I was talking to Jason in the car today, and we were talking about advertising and I used to think that it was inciting somebody to take action, like we were influencing people to take action, and that's not wrong intrinsically, but I think at its core, advertising is just capturing attention long enough that the consumer has a choice, or takes a second look at what you're doing. And goals look different. Like it could be perception, awareness, reputation, and on a smaller, or you're selling product or whatever, or on a smaller scale, it could be like clicks or traffic to a website. There's so much going on, objectives, goals, that at the end of the day, advertising as a whole, in my eyes, is just attracting attention, good or bad, long enough that they have a choice, and they have to respond somehow. That's a good way.
That's amazing. Before we open up to the audience for questions, I want to give the panelists a second to share anything that we didn't talk about. As others were talking, maybe something came to your mind. So if you'd like to convey a story or add on to something anyone else said, go ahead. And then we'll open up to the audience for questions.
I'll share something. This might seem random. So I've been at a few different advertising agencies. My first agency, I was at GSD&M, and at the time they had like 700 people. And then my next agency, there was about 250, and now we have about 25 in Houston. And I know that some people may be thinking, do I want to work for a really big company or do I want to work for a smaller company? And I don't think there's a right answer to that question, because having been in both experiences, I can tell you that both have been incredibly valuable for my career. They've just been really different. I don't know that it really matters where you start. I think if you're at a small company in the beginning, you have some really amazing opportunities. We were talking earlier about wearing a lot of hats. And that could be a great asset. It shows that you're very flexible, that you're a team player, you get exposed to a lot more than you would in a bigger setting. But in a bigger setting, you probably get exposed to larger budgets or bigger clients. So I honestly think that it's good to have both in your career. And I just thought it might be relevant to share that tidbit, just because it's something actually that I'm learning here and now, having been at a smaller agency for the past 5 years and really coming to value the experiences that I've had in both places.
And I will say that the great thing about working in a small shop, it's funny because we were owned at one time by Young & Rivkamp, which is one of the giant agencies in the world. They really were on Madison Avenue. And we lost one of our associate creative directors to Lionel. They went up there, and so I go, so what'd you do? How's it going up here? What's happening? And he got like to do one TV spot in a year. And I would die, because we do 3 or 4 or 5 different TV spots in like 2 days. We do, ads, we do websites, we do this and that. I love the fact that at a smaller shop you get to have more at bats. I want to hit the ball. I don't want to wait for 1 year to have one big swing. I want to do a lot of things, and that's what I love, the doing of advertising. What's your favorite thing? The doing of this business, because it is so darn much fun. And again, you're solving problems, and yes, you're doing this and all the things I said. But it really is a great career. And to the point, these guys, we were talking at lunch about working for free. We don't work for free anymore because we're not supposed to. But when you're young, yes, work for free. Do anything. Do anything you can to get something that is printed or on a website or on a banner ad or something, so that you can have it in your portfolio. Because building portfolio, your college portfolio shows, but if you have some things that are not out of college, that's the best thing you can have. So do that as well. But then finally, when you get in the business, don't work for free, unless your client asks you to, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, we're in the business to make money. Yes.
I'll just give a couple tips in case nobody asks me these questions, but on like the experience and what you can do to get a job, like everything about your internships and what you can do to like perfect your resume and things like that, those will get you the interview, but the soft skills that you can work on right now will get you the jobs. And so practice your presenting, like take volunteer opportunities, anything that you can do to help like build your confidence, because that's going to help you stand out whenever you're actually meeting with these people face to face. Even if that's calling up somebody and saying like, hey, I would love to just do an informational interview from you and like get to know about how you got to this position. Any of those like acts of having communication and just like working on that is going to help you build up your confidence so that you present better whenever you go in for interviews. And so take all the opportunities that you can now, because that will set you apart whenever you're entering the workforce and everyone has the same kind of baseline internship experience.
It's also like, you can almost, I was just thinking when you said that like, I feel like the reason why that's helpful is because you don't normally just call someone up to talk to them, like, can I practice something? So it's almost just like, communicate with someone differently than you're used to. Like, put yourself in some way that you haven't done before. Like, try to start a good conversation with the person giving you your coffee. And it's like, that's weird. It's like, yeah, I've never done it before. It's kind of weird, but you'll be all right at the end. And, like, you'll get something. It's true. I had something before that. Now you've done thrown me off a little bit. Yeah, I would just, I guess, like, in summary, I would say that, like, actually, I'm going to do questions. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to say one little quick story. The other day, what's really interesting is, and this is just proof that things are changing. Yesterday, I was in a board meeting for the creative agency, or creative design community in Houston, and we spent more time talking about, like, our Instagram feed than our website. So there's something that's like your grid. What the heck, where are we going? It's so wild.
Step your grid game up.
They don't have to, it's funny.
Be better. I'm gonna tell a story. Well, kind of. It's not really like a story, just observation.
It's about the girl.
Cool. So I worked on a campaign with the White House in Michelle Obama called Better Make Room, and through that process, we did a lot of research into like Gen Z students, millennial students, people who've been in college and are approaching the workforce. You guys. And a lot of what we found is that more than ever, people your age and my age really care about each other, about the world at large, about political issues, taking care of the environment, what have you. And because of that, we're seeing a shift in advertising that's moving from selling products or whatever to selling ideas. Yeah, selling experiences, selling bigger, broader ideas that are for good. You know, you're giving back somehow. You see organizations. Ben & Jerry's is a B Corp. I don't know if you know what a B Corp is, but that means that they have to follow all these rules and they're giving back to the community, money, environment. It's a big deal. And Ben & Jerry's, they sell ice cream. Like, okay. But like Patagonia today or yesterday launched this huge immersive experience that has to do with environmental activism. And it allows their community to kind of stand up for what they believe in. And because they've identified that and they know that their people care about that, they're building a relationship on a much higher level that's less about a product being sold and more about, like, we're all in this together. And yes, I'm a giant corporate brand that's trying to sell you jackets. But at the end of the day, we care about a lot of the same things. And my company, however big it is donating money and time and resources to solve for that specific issue. Yeah, they're becoming a part of the conversation. And that one puts them into a better light in your eyes as the consumer or customer. That contributes to the conversation about really important issues. And more than that, like what did I say earlier? Advertising changes the world. And I think more than ever now you have an opportunity for that. As you move into the workforce and you are joined by people who have been doing this for a really long time, you have a chance to skew these campaigns to really stand for something that's a lot bigger than yourself. And that's already begun. I mean, we see it in every major brand is trying to create a give back program or some sort of corporate social responsibility program. But eventually it's not going to be a program. It'll just be who the brand is. And I think you guys are going to have a huge say in that and will kind of lead us into that next generation of advertising.
That's awesome. That's a great stepping up point. So we have about 15-20 minutes where we can open up to the audience for questions. We have a couple microphones. I don't know if we're carrying those around or if we're having students come up to the microphones to answer the questions. You'll come up to either here or here. So as you graduate, you would do anything to be in front of people in an interview setting, asking them questions. So please take advantage of this opportunity.
I'm not shy, I'm a faculty. I'll just stand where I am, if that's okay, and I just want to say thank you for mass communication and all of you students for participating. This is a priceless gift. You know, I'm an educator, but what you're looking at is probably 300 plus years of experience, heightened, deep experience, and it's being given to you in just a few hours. So think of that brain transfer. It would take you 300 years of personal experience to equal great personal experience, to equal what's before you. And that's what happens every day, hopefully, at the college. So take advantage of this. Don't be shy. Ask your questions. The only stupid question, the one you don't ask. So please, I took the initiative, so you will. Thank you, Karen.
I just want to say, 300 years, you're really bad at that.
It doesn't have to be good with it.
You got to figure that one out.
Yeah.
Shout.
You do a shout out. Sure. You're doing so good.
Music, my life.
Yes, yes.
My name is Chloe, and so my question was like, hold on, I lost it when I got up here. What campaign or project made you love advertising, like over the experience of what you've been doing?
Like the campaign we worked on or a campaign we saw?
Any or campaign that you saw was
I can take this one. Sorry.
Great question.
Yeah. This is actually in my bio at the agency, but when I was like 15, I became really enamored with Absolute Vodka advertising, which is probably not something my parents were super excited about. I don't know if y'all are familiar with their campaign, but they basically always feature the bottle in a different way. They've had artists paint their bottles. They've done all sorts of really creative things. I actually would collect those ads and plaster my bedroom wall, floor to ceiling with them. But I just thought it was so creative and interesting, all the different ways that they could envision the same thing over and over again. And that was sort of the jumping off point for me. And I also used to collect like candy wrappers and weird things like that. But I think I've always just been enamored with product packaging. I was the one who would always notice, oh, Dr. Pepper changed their can this week. So I think there's just, you know, I think you sort of discover those things as you're growing up and start to realize how they can turn into real professional careers.
Yeah, it's interesting because I cover the largest span here. So back when Volkswagen, when Bill and Bernbach first acquired Volkswagen, the account, and they did this beautiful ad called, and said the Volkswagen, the little Beetle, and it said think small, and it was 3 columns of type and a Volkswagen logo, and it was incredible. They actually talked about it on Mad Men, you know, because they thought it was so naive and whatever, but it was brilliant, and that was kind of like the basis of advertising, modern day advertising as we know it. What's funny is, here's about getting a job. This guy named Bruce Henry Davis was coming through the agency, and he had his portfolio. It was pretty good. And all of a sudden, he had this think small ad in his portfolio. I said, why is it in here? I didn't do that. I just thought it was a cool ad. Come on, come to work for us. I mean, it worked for him to show somebody really brilliant and to say, I just thought it was cool, so I put it in my portfolio. Okay, he's a very, very different guy, but we gave him a job, so it worked for him.
Who's that?
You want this?
Yeah.
Got you.
I will talk about one of the campaigns that I worked on, but it was my first campaign that I worked on when I got to MMI, and we did a campaign for the city of Houston to attract more talent, like people in this age range. And it was really cool for me to like get to see that campaign from start to finish, and getting to like do the research and talk to people, and then put it out there, and then get results back from it. As somebody who is from Houston and really loves the city, it was pretty emotional, just like getting to see that there were so many more people who loved what I loved about the city, which really was its people instead of like one specific landmark or something like that. So that was a really cool one to see.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there's a specific brand or like look. I was like I'm still really into basketball, so it was always like personas really. I remember like was really into basketball sneakers and Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley and all these guys back in the 90s. I remember like that time was like super inspiring because these dudes were doing weird stuff and I was like all about it. And then at the exact same time, there's also like this huge surge in skateboarding because finally skate videos were becoming a huge deal and like every league's making skate videos and then there's like this thing that was super personal to a kid, had like a million different variations on a deck. I guess it's like kind of the first time that I started realizing that like this like personal relationship with an object and I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I think that was a great answer. I don't know. Yeah, the thing that first came to mind when the question was asked was Air Jordan. I love their brand back way when, and I love it now. Huh? Yeah.
Just to talk about today.
Yeah, it was dope. But like they're selling a product, but more than that, they like caught on that they were selling like we all know what a lifestyle brand or whatever that is. But it connected me. It was what I did in my spare time, and then as the brand evolved and grew, like they didn't forget their roots, and they're always like talking about the past and Jordan's legacy, and it just made me feel like I was a part of something bigger. And I think that was the first time I like emotionally connected to a campaign. I was like, oh, this is cool. A campaign I worked on that kind of, so Better Make Room, working with the Obamas was incredible for so many reasons, but the campaign was a for-good campaign. One, we were trying to get kids to and through college. And so that in itself was such a big deal to me because I'm a first-generation college student. So I could connect with it. And then we had digital advertising, traditional billboards, influencers. I hung out with Usher. So when you get to do so many things on a particular campaign, one, as a young person in this industry, it was just cool. It was super dope. And then to be such a big part of it, I got to write the whole digital strategy and see it implemented. And it was the first time I was a part of a project from start to finish where I saw impact, things happening because of the work that we were doing. We were changing lives. And I got to do a bunch of cool stuff along the way.
Super short.
So much shorter. Great question. 5 stars.
Hello, my name is Dion. I'm a senior and I'm a marketing major. So check this out. So I made these hats, right? These are called AMA hats. They're from our American Marketing Association. $50, you want the hat. I got American Marketing Association in the back. I'm the VP of merchandising for that organization. But anyway, that wasn't my question. I just wanted to point that out. And I got my resume on deck if you want to do my resume. But anyway, quick question, because I look up to somebody, well, not look up, I kind of really see a person in the advertising industry. His name is Steve Stout, if you don't know who that is. He's the founder of an advertising agency in New York called Translation. And I guess what that leads to is, who do you guys look up to in the advertising agency or the industry itself? If you don't look up to anybody, who's somebody that you guys see and like, yo, this guy is doing great things. I'm trying to be better than that person. Or I'm trying to, be on that top, be at the top of the food chain. You know what I'm saying?
No, seriously, I will, because I've known the guy who bought our agency in 2006 is a guy named Stan Richards. If you've ever been to Dallas, you've seen he's got a 17-story building that he built. He paid cash for himself, so there's somebody who knows what he's doing. But the thing of it is, besides being a brilliant businessman, he is a genius about advertising and communication. And just as, we're friends. I know the guy for 40 years. But he is such a brilliant guy about this business and about communicating in all media. And he's built this 750-person ad agency, and we used to be the same size, so you can see how well he's done. But he could be on this panel and doing the same thing we're all doing, because he loves the business. He understands the science of advertising, and again, how to motivate people. And he probably made one of the most beautiful spots. A couple of years ago at the Super Bowl, they did the Ram spot where Paul Harvey did, and God Make a Farmer. He did this commercial that was about 2 or 3 minutes long, And by the time it was over, I mean, half the room was crying, the other half was just like, that was fabulous. But, so he does brilliant work and he makes a lot of money. And I love what he said, yeah, Chuck, when it all goes down, the last thing I'm selling is a corporate jet. I gotta respect that guy, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if there's like a particular person that I like look up to. You look at all the like brilliant agencies across the world. There are a couple people that I like keep in mind. I talked about Polisher earlier, and then on a personal level, there's this writer that I used to work. I'm a writer by like trade, I guess. And so this woman named Sarah Gabbard that I worked with at Black Sheep is one of the most brilliant writers I've ever worked with. It's just so eloquent with a pen. Like she gets it done. She can blaze like 1,000 words in 3 seconds. And I always looked up to her because when we would work on assignment, like maybe it was campaign or whatever, ideation, she was the best at what she did, but she never made anybody feel like they were inferior if they came to the table with ideas. And I think that's super important. And ever since I had that experience with her, I've tried to replicate that, probably unsuccessfully at times. But I think it's important that everybody feels empowered to come to the table if you have 2 days experience or 30 years experience. And then there's agencies I keep my eye on. I work with a girl from Digital Kitchen in Chicago. 72 and Sunny's doing great work. Yeah, Pentagram is a design firm. And I think if you work in advertising, you kind of keep your hand on all the pedals, and you like when a huge branding project is done, you know who did it, and you can kind of give them the props there. But yeah.
Yeah, mine's also just personal, like people. Again, I feel like people, person, relationships, super important. So as far as like a big agency, I don't necessarily, I was gonna say 72 and Sunny, they're great. And I think it's also because they do so well, like taking care of the people that work there. Massive agency, 5 locations in Europe and the United States, all over the place. And they're just like really dope, really good guys. Besides that, I would think like my professor in college, Tony Watkins, super great designer, super thoughtful. Everything you did, he like looked at for a little too long, and I was like, dude, you're being weird. But he was like really cared about it, and I thought that was really intentional and kind, and so I tried to do the same thing there.
This might sound wacky, but it's not my fault. But the people that I really look up to are our leadership team at our agency. Our CEO, his name is Benjamin Spiegel, and is one of the more brilliant people that I've ever gotten to work with, or like even read the stuff that he publishes. It's been really cool to see what he's done with our agency just in the last 3 years, is taking us from or an agency that was more traditional to someone who's doing like cutting edge things, working with brand new products with P&G. So that's been really cool. And then our founder, Cindy Marion, is somebody that I also really respect as someone who started a business at 26 and has run that business really well, and just has a lot of really like good care and a big heart for her people, and is also really fantastically creative and client service oriented. So I've learned a lot getting to work with them very closely in the last couple of years.
Maybe just quickly for Michelle, and then we'll have to wrap up.
I'm just going to echo what Chuck said about Stan Richards. I had the opportunity to have a quick meet and greet with him when I first started at the agency, and I literally felt like I met Steve Jobs of advertising. That's the only way I can describe it. He is incredibly brilliant, but I've never encountered a person who cared so deeply for their staff. All 700, 800 of them. Every year they have a huge staff meeting where he talks about the company's profits and the company's successes, and shares that all transparently with the staff. They talk about how important it is to enroll in your 401k. He really does care about the personal, professional, and financial success of everyone, and I think that that's really remarkable. I mean, he actually does get choked up when he gives those speeches. He cares so much. And I think there's a lot of really smart people out there, but to encounter someone who's brilliant and compassionate, I think can be rare sometimes. So I'm thankful that I have that opportunity.
Thank you, guys. One last thing, remember this.
Please join me in thanking our panel. We'll have another panel starting in about 10 minutes.